Hi, my name's Kevin. This is my lovely wife,
Leah, hello.
and we are welcoming you today to our channel called Why We Deliver. Now, this channel is about why Leah and I deliver different food apps, starting with DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, and Spark. And we wanted to start a channel to help those of you who might be starting this adventure in the year 2025. Leah, how long have we been doing this for?
So we've been doing this full time for a full year now. And even before that, we did it part time as kind of a side hustle just to kind of fill in where we needed it. So full time for a full year. We've made it through a full year.
Yeah, it's been quite an adventure. A lot of people think, man, can I actually make enough money to support myself and get by with just doing delivery apps? Yeah, you can. And we'll try to help you and guide you from what we've learned. Maybe we can have an interchange here where we learn things from a lot of other people. We have about 8,000, I would say, deliveries that have
Between
been.
all the apps that we use,
Yeah,
I'd say about 8,000.
so we do it a lot. We do it a lot every single day that we work. Right now, we work sometimes 5 to 6 days a week. But today, we wanted to welcome you to our channel, like we said before. We want to talk about specifically the 4 delivery apps that we use, and we're going to rank them and tell you why we rank them the way that we do. All right, Leah, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the top 4 apps that we use. And again, there's a lot more, but we just wanted to talk about the ones we do.
Yeah. So we said all the ones that we use. We use Spark, Uber Eats, Instacart, and DoorDash. So my ranking is number one is Spark. Even though we don't use it where we are currently as much, it is still number one moneymaker across the board. Second, Instacart. Third, Uber Eats, and fourth, DoorDash is my rankings. And I think yours are probably about the same.
My rankings are exactly the same with that. Now, funny thing is, we are currently residing in South Florida and we're from Oregon. But when we were in Oregon, actually, our rankings probably would have flipped. I think Spark would have stayed number one, but it took us a long time to be able to become Spark eligible as delivery drivers.
Yes.
So DoorDash was our number one go-to.
For a long time, DoorDash was our number one.
Yeah. Since then, DoorDash has fallen way down the list for us individually, and we'll talk a little bit about why. But Spark is Walmart.
Yes.
So how do you get onto Spark, Leah?
Well, you go through their application process, then you wait for them to approve you, and then you get into where you can deliver. It's a little bit more intensive of a process than just getting on like Uber Eats or DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever. It's a little bit more intense, I think.
I would agree with that. It took us a while. Both of us have been approved as Spark drivers now for a year.
More than a year.
More than a year. So it took us a while to get there, but don't give up. One of the things about these apps is that sometimes you have to persevere to get to where you want to be. Now I want to talk about Instacart. This is down here where we're at right now. This is our number one go-to every single day that we deliver. This is the primary one. Leah, tell us how we get to Instacart.
So Instacart is a similar process. They have a pretty intense background check that they do, and then eventually you'll be allowed in. But we didn't use it as much when I first signed up for it. I did not use it as much, just because it was a little bit intimidating. It's you're grocery shopping for people, and you don't really know how much time is or how much money is worth your time, that type of thing. So it took a little bit more to get the hang of it, but now that we have, it's our most profitable where we are. So it's definitely become our number one right now.
And then Uber Eats in the third slot for us. We use Uber Eats as our filler So anytime, let's say we get an Instacart, we deliver that one, and now we're waiting for our next Instacart to come around. We park it in a spot, which we'll also talk about later, that we know that we can get a restaurant. So then we get an Instacart or we get a Uber Eats and we go deliver that. We also have DoorDash lingering at the same time. So usually we have, what do you say, 3 apps running at one time.
Yeah.
On the phone. And then we use with that to subsidize in between our Instacart. So we like to average somewhere between 25 to 30 some dollars an hour.
Yep. And I think we're pretty successful in it most days.
We're pretty successful most days. Now, times there's better times to deliver your food services, and there's better times to deliver your Instacart or Spark orders as well. Some of the prime times that we found, we drop our daughter off at school at 8:30 in the morning,
yep.
And then you and I, we start work.
Yep.
And so from there, we have Instacart going. Sometimes we'll get Instacart about that time, between 8:45 and 9 o'clock, we'll get our first one. But oftentimes we have to do an Uber Eats delivery or a DoorDash delivery to get us kicked off for the day. And then we'll just bounce back and forth between the two. Now, we usually only work until we pick up our daughter. What time do we pick her up at?
3:30.
3:30. And by that time, we have a very specific goal that we try to hit every single day. And if we don't hit that goal, we might do an extra one after we pick her up. But most days, we've gotten a good routine down here where we do hit that goal. So why do we rank Instacart up there as our number one spot right now? It's because it keeps us busy.
It does. It keeps us very busy. And it is the one that time-wise is the most for our money, or most money for the time that we're spending doing it.
Yeah, so remember, if you're just starting out, you want to make sure that you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. That's why it's great to have multiple apps going at one time. But you also want to invest your time wisely because it's your time and you're trying to make money via these apps. And so definitely get Uber Eats signed up for, get DoorDash signed up for, and get Instacart signed up for, and try to get Spark going. Be patient, give it time. Maybe in your area it's not available yet, but stick with it and don't give up. But why do we put DoorDash down as our number 4, Leah? Well, it used to be our number 1.
It used to be our number 1, but I think it was more the loyalty that we don't see from them. We have, like he said, we have thousands of orders. Just with DoorDash, we have 2,000 to 3,000 orders.
Almost 4.
That we've done. Yeah. So, but that didn't seem for us to mean much to them, because even at that, they were still giving us like $2 orders that go many miles. So that's just not worth our time and effort to put into it for that little of money. Granted, the person could give you a cash tip after the fact or increase your tip after the fact, but we weren't seeing that happening. And so we started declining a lot of orders that came through, and then our rankings started falling, and we just didn't see any of that loyalty coming back to us for us being loyal to DoorDash for a long time. We did strictly DoorDash for a long time. So we just didn't see the need to continue doing that if we're not going to get that in return.
So Uber Eats is the best one that we've found to help subsidize that time again between our Instacart orders and our Uber Eats orders. That usually keeps us busy. Mm-hmm. I would say that our DoorDash now typically maybe is $100 a week, whereas Uber Eats is usually somewhere between $200 to $400 a week. Yep. And then Instacart's the big one, somewhere between $600 to $900 a week. Yep. And that's kind of what we shoot for down here. Now in Oregon, it might be different. It will be different because we really like Spark.
Yes, Spark in Oregon is much better for us. Down here, it seems a little bit more saturated, and there's ones who can sit and wait for orders and things like that, and who might be able to afford that. But we can't do that. We have to be out making money to provide for ourselves. So when we do go back to Oregon, Spark will probably return to number one, and Instacart might be a close second if the orders are there. But still, we have Uber Eats, we have DoorDash to fill in those times in between orders of the bigger sorts. We've pretty successfully done that in Oregon previously, so we're pretty sure we can do it again when we move back there.
So the main focus of our introductory video here is to explain that you can be successful doing that. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's difficult, especially when you're starting out. You're like, oh, I'm on Instacart now, that's great, but dang, I'm not getting very many orders right now.
Took us a long time to get up in Instacart because your first 100 orders, you're just whatever they give you. But once you get past that and you hit a certain spot, then they start giving you bigger and better orders. So once we got to that opportunity, then the rankings of things kind of switched around a little bit, and so we could actually, be consistent in one app.
So I know we're just talking about the 4 deliveries today, Leah, but if you had to give somebody advice on Instacart, especially when they're starting out, what piece of advice would you give them right now?
Be patient. I'm really bad at that. I'm the worst. I'm like, I need an order now, and if I don't, then I'm panicking. Oh, I'll do something else. But with Instacart, if you're patient, the orders will come, and you just have to wait for the right amount of money for the right amount of miles and the amount of items that you're getting too. Don't be afraid of bigger orders because they can be profitable. And if your money and your time make it worth it, then definitely take those bigger orders. And I think it's fun to do the bigger orders too because I like going and finding all kinds of things. And so it is a challenge, but I do like to take on that challenge too. So just don't be afraid to throw yourself out there and try it.
Yeah, definitely stick with it. It's worth it. There's the introductory phase, like Leah talked about, that first 100 deliveries you got to get through. But then once you start building that momentum, you can make good money each and every single week of just doing Instacart if you wanted to. But we definitely both advise you to get involved with the DoorDash, get involved with Uber Eats, Grubhub. We have Grubhub. We never use Grubhub, but we have it.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of others. You can check out other YouTube channels that have multiple other delivery opportunities that probably pay better than these do. But for these, this is what works for us.
Yep.
And so we're okay with that. One other piece of advice that we would like to give when it comes to Instacart would be what, Leah? I'm talking about you talked about the miles and the amount of money. I want to talk about don't chase the money.
That's true.
I want you to talk a little bit more about that.
We don't do that very often. That is something.
Can you explain what we mean by that?
So chasing the money is basically taking an order that the store is maybe 5-10 miles away, and then you're doing your order and then delivering it. Try to find a spot where you can stay at one store or 2 stores that are close by and wait for orders in those places. Don't be traveling all over here and there to get those orders because it becomes not worth it at that point.
What you'll find is, you get that one big order. Let's say it's a $30 or $45 order, but it's 7 miles away from your normal zone. And now all of a sudden you get there, you deliver that order. Guess what? Now you got to drive around and deliver it. And that might put you 14 miles away from your initial zone. And now you have to chase it back. And we've just found it much more successful to stay within our area. And while we're waiting for those Instacart orders to come through, that's when we got the Uber Eats and the DoorDashes going to fill in that gap.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. We run 3 to 4 apps at a time. And I know that sounds like a lot and that sounds very difficult to be going back and forth. But once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it and you can see how, oh man, this hour I made $25. I did 3 things, but I made money doing it. So don't be afraid to use all the apps and use them to their potential.
So again, we want to welcome you to our new channel. We're going to be talking about different things and why we like them, definitely things that we do not like. And together we can grow as a delivery community. We know that Leah and I both see a lot of people who are my age and above that are just starting out. And so we wanted to uh, help the community grow so we can all make enough money that we can live on and get by. So again, my name is Kevin.
My name's Leah.
And we'll talk to you next time.